everyone, and welcome to another edition of FDDS Presents Fridays with Frankie. I am your host, Frankie Avalon, here with my best friend, co-creator, and co-host, King Ding Dong. We are here to bring you some bowling news, all the action from around the area, amateur, pro, you name it. We're going to cover everything. We got a whole bunch of stuff to go over with you guys tonight. We got some ball reviews to go over with you people. You probably saw a video I posted the other day of the Emerge. More videos coming for sure. But definitely we're going to cover all the bases tonight. We've got a huge show for you, so let's just get right into it. We are live. Comments are live on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitch stream. All the comments come into our StreamYard broadcast, so anything that you guys say we will see and we will put it on the air and we will answer any questions you have. So please feel free. It's an interactive show as always. Yeah. So really looking forward to interacting with a bunch of people tonight.
Side note, though, AJ will not be answering questions because it's just his bobblehead.
No, he's a silent partner here in the booth tonight, so he's just hanging out watching the show. He's stuck in a bowling pin. It's kind of hard to talk then. So if you're watching,
you want to talk about a stick figure,
right? Yeah, just a stick in the mud, as they say. So. I was just down there in Texas not that long ago visiting AJ and Avery and them down there, and they moved to the Dallas area, so.
Hopefully his physique looked a little bit better than it does tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not much neck here going on. A little
pear shape.
Action. But needs to work on the diet here.
But in real life, he's a lot better because
he rolls it great. Yeah, absolutely. So, just giving a shout out there, AJ Chapman, our boy, I love you. So, comment coming in. Jason Sparks, take your shirt off. This doesn't even have a torso.
Right. It's hard to find a shirt that fits when you're shaped like a bowling pin, I guess.
That's accurate. Right, exactly. So, all right, so let's get right into it. First and foremost, we're going to get right into the big thing. PBA gives urethane Viagra starting January 2nd next year. Need to be super hard.
The little blue pill, right?
Little blue pill has to be included in every blend.
Urethane Cialis.
We're going from
be the name of the next urethane.
Uralis. Uralis.
That sounds even. That's like a disease waiting to happen.
Is that better than Uragra?
Well, they both sound. It sounds like a problem a cat would have when they came.
Right. You go to see the vet.
Yeah. Right.
My cat has Uragra. Oh, it's horrible.
Let me prescribe it uresis.
Right. So, so all joking aside, urethane is going to be used on the PBA Tour from 73, which is the current standard, to 78.
78.
78, 5 points doesn't sound like a lot, but it is in the bowling world. I mean, 5 points can make a big difference. There's still a lot of unknowns. I know that the PBA published a lot of their data on this, and I know there's dissenting opinions and there's agreeing opinions, but I think the truth kind of lies somewhere in the middle. My opinion of it is let's wait and see. Let's see what happens. Are these balls going to drop more than 3 points?
They can't drop any more than 5, but any ball can't drop any more than 5. So I do like that part of the rule because you're not segregating urethane, resin, plastic.
You are still segregating resin and urethane because resins are adhering to the 73 rule.
Well, I know, but they can't lose more than 5. Right. I like that part of the rule because that doesn't segregate. What I don't like is the part of the rule that says, as you were saying, Frankie, urethane 78, resin only has to be 73.
Correct.
That doesn't make sense. I like how no ball can drop more than 5.
Right.
That makes sense across the board.
I agree.
Not to say a plastic ball would.
Right.
But, obviously the other softer balls, anything that's porous, has a tendency to probably get a little softer, right?
My thing is, if the PBA is talking about reducing the footprint, right, which is a big buzzword right now. Yeah. Obviously, the softer the ball, the urethanes and stuff, bigger the footprint on the lane. It makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
So the resins are allowed to still be a little softer, which is okay. Whatever. It is what it is, right? If you want to reduce footprints, why aren't you outlawing any grits below, say, 1,500?
Exactly, because
500, 1,000, 360, 240, 180, all allowed in competition still. That increases the footprint exponentially the lower the grit you go. the higher the footprint, right? Yeah. So obviously, the softer the ball, the bigger the footprint. The same thing can happen with grits when it comes to resin or urethane. It doesn't matter what it is. So if you want to reduce footprint across the board, why aren't we talking about nothing less than 1,500 or 2,000 or whatever you want to say?
Right, and keep those other pads just for resurfacing.
Right, to get scratches out of the ball and return them back to, whatever.
Now it's hard. It would be hard, though, to kind of monitor that. It's easy to monitor, hey, does this person have a sideway hold that they don't have a finger in?
Right.
Or a thumbway hold that, but it's hard to say, hey, that ball looks like it might be under 1,000, but, when it comes to brass tacks, what do you have? Like the $1,000 instrument to test it?
Right.
Hey,
Ding Dong, I made a meme. I make a lot of memes.
Well, yeah.
But this was a pretty funny one because I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
So this directly affects who. I use a lot of urethane on a lot of sport shots. Okay. Not just short. There's stuff that's medium length and sometimes even the long stuff, depending on what the volume is. So.
Well, you do have, a bevy of purple hammers.
I have a harem. That's what it's called when you have more than so many. It's now a harem. Like with sheiks and women in Saudi Arabia, you get a harem.
So do the purples all stay in the middle? Then you have the pink and the black on the outside that look in on the purples? Or
if you put those in the middle, and it's kind of like anything that's not a purple is at my mercy to possibly be sacrificed.
Oh, so the purples get around the black hammer?
It's like Lord of the Flies.
I see.
So check out this meme. What do you think?
I think it's gold, Frankie.
It's kind of how it is, right?
Yeah, really. So
I'm left-handed, so
Well, and even with your thumb in, so the lefties like Buttriff has his thumb in the ball, right?
Exactly.
Uses a lot of urethane, a lot of purple.
For sure.
But even the two-handers, look at Packy.
Yeah.
Even the Storm guys, look at Jesper. Always has urethane in his hand. So
Simon
this is
uses a lot of urethane. Belmo uses urethane. There's a lot of guys.
A lot of righties, like you
said.
said.
A lot of two-handers. Obviously with the higher rev rates and everything, Kyle. So, it definitely is. It's going to affect a lot of guys across the board on the PBA tour. Now, it doesn't. Now, the interesting part about this rule is it affects all levels of PBA. So when we went to with the purple pin purples, went to the little harder. Yeah. You didn't have to have those for the regional programs.
Right.
Now, PBA 50, PBA 60, regionals,
PBA
national
junior.
tour, PBA junior, all of them, all levels of PBA competition are going to have to adhere to this 78 hardness rule. And they're also going to not be able to use any bowling ball, not just urethane, that was manufactured before August 1st of this year. Correct.
So, and that so that expanded from the urethane ban of anything older than August 1st.
Right.
It's going to be any bowling ball.
Any bowling ball. So anyone that was using some gems in their closet, like let's say a web pearl, or
those Rodmans that have been
an Idle
around.
Solid, or any of those type
that
of balls.
IQ Tour, gold IQ Tour that Wes
all
always
of
uses.
those are gone.
Yeah.
Well, they're all gone. So it'll be interesting
when
to
you
see.
see them those, you'll see them in the Masters because that's a USBC.
Right, and I'll be curious in the Masters, like a tournament like the Masters or the U.S. Open. Tournaments like that, if when they make it to TV, does that fall under PBA rules or does it stay under, say, USBC rules at that point? And maybe USBC or BPAA, whoever it is, has changed their rules to mirror PBA. I'll be curious because, the USBC did their study, PBA's done their study. Interesting part of this thing is that part of the PBA study, it talked about balls getting soft going down the lane with no oil on it. And a lot of the contention was the lane oil causes them to get soft. Now, there's also different things. They're using just, like this, like a Shore D durometer. We have one here. They obviously have a much bigger, nicer one. But, this is basically the same thing. It's got a pin in it. You just put it in the ball, measure 10 spots around the ball, get an average, and voila, there's your hardness. But these only measure a partial, very small piece of the outside of the ball. How lubricated that is makes a difference. How often it's been calibrated makes a difference. Temperature makes a difference. There's so many factors that go into it. It's like,
how many pushes you've had since it's been maintained? Right.
So again, all that factors into it. So it's such a hard thing. Like, no one can still quantify to me exactly how much your scores go up using a urethane ball that has gotten 5 points softer. I mean, can anyone quantify this is what you get, it's plus 20 or plus 5 or plus 4 or plus 60? I mean, who knows? I mean, you know what I mean? So
do you think it goes back to that old school thing where they used to actually soak their plastic balls,
like in the mech and stuff like that, the
to
bleeders
soften them
and stuff
up,
like that.
you know, and do you think it harkens back to that, thinking that
Right.
that is where they're gaining, you know, this advantage rather than, like you said, you surface a fucking ball down to 180, and that's going to change any lane more than any urethane ball.
100%. Yeah, I still tell people that ever since this whole urethane thing come up. You know, it used to be when we all grew up using urethane, you and I were in that class.
Yeah.
When you used resin, you were a cheater. Right?
I
the purists use urethane. The purist bowlers use urethane.
Yep.
All these guys using resin were a bunch of cheaters just trying to hook the lane and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
30 years later, now we're having the argument in the opposite direction. The guys that throw straighter with urethane are now the cheaters, and the guys throwing the resin are the ones calling the urethane guys the cheaters. To me, it doesn't make sense, right? So I think there needs to be more research done on this. And I'm not convinced that even when you go to 78, you're not going to see some of these balls still get softer. Again, if you're talking about balls going down the lane with no lane oil are still getting softer, again, it's something in the composition of the balls, and do they settle to a certain point no matter what? Does 78 still get to 72?
Right.
75 got to 72. 73 you got to the same thing. So no matter what, they're going to settle to a certain amount, right? So, and what they could do instead of using this short E durometer is use something like the IHRD, which is a much more technologically advanced piece of equipment to measure the entire hardness of an object. I mean, it's what they use, like rubber and plastic companies use this stuff to make sure stuff is within tire companies, super, super, super tolerance, right?
Yeah.
Use that to measure your stuff instead of just measuring the very, very outside of the equipment. So, and then see exactly what happens. The actual chemical composition of the entire object. So, to me, that's maybe where we need to head with this, but it's hard to say. Dick DeJour says, if the ball is hard enough, does the pin come out? No, because you think your plastic balls are way harder than that. I mean, some of your plastic balls are in the 80s, mid-80s or something like that. So, I mean, you look at the Crown Jewels, the Brunswick Crown Jewels are probably the hardest plastic ball right now out there, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they could be.
They're pretty hard, and we don't have any issues with those. The storm ices, yeah. So I don't think that's an issue at all. You're not going to see anything like that happen, but I'm just curious. I mean, who knows? I mean, we'd love to have your comments on it. Adam Lemmarie saying 1 year ago was PBA League time in Portland, Maine. We're still waiting on PBA League draft and all that. I mean, we're supposed to have them coming in September, but I mean, it's July. We're getting close. Yeah. So
I wonder if it's going to be run kind of in conjunction with our league draft.
And listen, PBA, Tom Clark, if you're listening or watching, we would love to do the PBA league draft on Frankie Ding Dong Show.
Yeah,
we give it to you straight, and we would give you analysis and our honest opinion of these picks and the guys that are saved. Trust me,
for sure.
We would pull no punches, and it could be the best ratings you've ever seen on a PBA league draft show. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
a lot of people would be tuning in. We'd get special guests in here. We'd have the captains on. We'd do the whole spiel, right?
Yeah.
Hey, if you wanted to, I'm sure we could talk to Hungus and maybe get this thing done at Bayside Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, like even if it's just over a little live stream action, a little Zoom thing, and it's just a thought. We're in for it. We're in for all of it. So, anyways, that's the whole PBA thing with the urethane coming up. We'll see what happens, and I'm curious what USBC's response is. It's kind of a punch-counterpunch between USBC and PBA at this point, you know? USBC banned a bunch of balls, right? And then PBA says, we're going to ban only these couple, and we're going to still allow everyone to use the rest.
Right.
That was kind of a shot at USBC, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
PBA League Bowler Championship competing directly to me with USBC Open Championships, right?
Yes.
So punch-counterpunch. Now we got USBC had made their declaration and their study on urethane balls and thought it was over with, and PBA's like, not so fast. We're jacking hardness way up to where we haven't seen this, you know, since the 80s. So I'll be curious to find out what is USBC's response now. So we'll find out, I'm sure, sooner rather than later. We'll find out what happens. I'm curious.
Do you remember what the hardness was of those urethane balls back in the day? Because I remember some of them came out of the box at like 360.
Right, and that's why you saw these balls coming out at 360. Some came at 240, 320.
They were fucking dull.
Because they were 78, 79. That was basically your average. Some were 80, right? So that was where you lived. 78 to 80 was your average hardness on those urethanes. So guess what they did? They just sanded them more.
And they were sanded.
And they Right.
Remember Burgundy when it first came out? It was almost like fucking
Oh, it was like chalky.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's going to be. You're gonna see more of that again.
Yeah.
Like if we have purple hammers or whatever urethanes we have with our brands with Brunswick, if there's a purple hammer that comes out at 78, I'll throw it, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to whack that thing with a 360 pad and see what it looks like.
Yeah, probably.
So
it's weird how things come around, and like remember even back in the day when they said paper bags were the devil, and we were every tree on Earth was going to get cut down, and plastic bags were the wave of the future.
We're the wave.
Now plastic bags are the devil, and
Yep.
back to paper. It's almost like the same thing's happening with urethane. Like you mentioned, that Excalibur came out, and it was a shiny ball that hooked down lane.
Right.
And like everyone who was using that type of shit was a cheater, and everyone who was using the big surface urethanes, they were the purest.
Right.
And,
Right.
like now it's like,
now the resin guys are the purists, and you got talking, everyone says that they owe Sean Rash an apology. I don't understand why they would say that, but
I think it's just evolution of the game, because I remember way back in the day, and Mo Pinnell, like he was like, guys, I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to find a pin-in ball anymore. Remember back in the day, all balls were pin-in.
Oh, yeah. Less than an inch, like right next to the
CG.
Right.
He's like, I guarantee you guys, there will not be any more pin-in balls. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be a thing anymore. And everyone was like, oh, no, you're fucking crazy, right?
Yep.
This and that. Look at it now. The CG and pin, if you can find one under 2 inches, you're probably got a second, or should have been a second. Not that the CG matters that much anymore.
Right.
It almost doesn't matter.
Really. Yeah, with the 3-ounce rule. Yeah.
But like everything is pin out. There's nothing that's pin in the label unless you're buying a plastic ball nowadays.
My favorite was, for a while when you still had the 1-ounce rule and you could do weight holes, you had balls that say the pin was 5 or 6 inches out. They would call them blems for a while, but were part of them still.
Pro
like
pins.
Well, no. That's when they changed the name. If you called it a blem, it was like, oh, that's probably not as good. If we call this a pro pin or a pro CG,
yes,
that makes it sound important, even though it's just a ball that was manufactured with a very long pin.
That fucking had a P4 weight hole.
Right, because you had to put a P4 in that thing to China, so.
And then you saw some ball reactions.
Right, I mean, it was amazing. I used to love seeing the flare differences, and then you crank a P4 in it, and all of a sudden it's like,
yeah,
it's awesome. So anyways, those are the good old days of weight holes. Christian Morrow, Gutter Boy, saying, my balls are harder just listening to this. Right on, brother. I'm glad it is. Hey, by the way, it looks like you guys had a great time. I saw some of you and Titty's photos there. It was pretty cool. You guys had a great time.
We're going to see them tomorrow. We're going to see you tomorrow? Sharks?
I don't know, maybe.
Watching some UFC?
Yeah. All right. So, anyways, any other opinions on the PBA hardness rule? I'm very curious how this is going to play out, especially for the lefties. The lefties, the urethane was kind of the equalizer on patterns where a lot of times maybe the left didn't have a look. The urethane always kind of gave us a look when maybe we wouldn't be able to score. I'm curious if patterns change a little bit now, because there are events where the left gets shut out, right, on sport patterns. And there's events where the left is easier. It kind of ebbs and flows that way. But I felt like the lefties use urethane a lot because less traffic. The urethane was able to keep them kind of in that same part of the lane and create some shape where you're not able to break down the pattern. So I'd be curious to see what happens. I mean, I think if you see the first 6 events of the season and there hasn't been a lefty make a show yet, all of a sudden you might be like, what's going on here? Like, what, we need to take a look at oil patterns or something to kind of level it out. Or, I mean, who knows? They might start running them over. I mean, you never know. They might change the oil patterns, and who knows what happens. But I'm just curious. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be a lot of moving parts with this moving forward.
I think you're going to start seeing a lot more surfaced low-end balls.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like, especially your axes are just getting released. You might actually see rhinos in these guys' hands.
Twists, stuff like
something whacked with like a 360 pad or something. But the lower end stuff,
so it doesn't
really
get too
hard with a pad, so they can still control the back, which the urethane has always allowed them to do. But like the purple being a special ball had the more back end than traditional urethanes. I mean, like look at the UC3. It was the same idea.
Right.
It gave you that like reaction that the true urethanes never gave you.
Yeah, and the purple special because I mean the oil will sit on that thing forever, so it's a urethane for sure. It's definitely a urethane. It's not blend or any of that type of stuff. But it's definitely interesting to see what happens.
I remember when Gene Pecoraro, this was back, he had a 16 Purple Hammer.
Yeah.
And back before this was even a thing.
Right.
And he's like, using it one night, and I'm like, what the fuck ball are you using? He goes, Purple Hammer, Purple Hammer. I'm like, what the hell is that? And he goes, it's a urethane ball. I'm like, that's a fucking urethane ball? Yeah. He's like, yeah, dude, this ball is special. Trust me.
Yeah.
And Gene, he was the one that initially taught me how to drill bowling balls.
Right.
So, he had found it right after 16, and he knew, man.
You know, yeah.
Like that ball was special.
Yep.
And, he definitely turned me on, or at least let me know about it before it became a thing. And then obviously it became such a thing that we can't let it go in the bowling world, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 16, 17s have all been replaced by a manufacturer that essentially just bought the nameplate. That's unheard of, and pretty much in the industry. And I thought that should have put a kibosh to the whole discussion altogether.
Right.
But yet here we are. What is this now? 2.5 years later since then, and we're still talking about it.
It almost seems to me like it's unheard of for an entity to basically try to make multiple rules now, because of one ball that's really changed the face of the game. This is now twice rules have been put in place because trying to limit this piece of equipment, in my opinion. Now there's other balls that are good.
Oh yeah,
but not that good. So
well, no, but there are other balls that, like, for instance, the high road has been they've been making that fucker for 14 years. There's got to be a reason for that, right?
Right.
Phase 2, that's in every Storm guy's bag. There's got to be a reason for that, right? It has to be. There's there's more than just the Purple Hammer. That's a great ball.
Right.
There are great balls out there. It's just, it just seems like, I think.
But they're not making rules again for those.
They bag on the purple
a
lot.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it's because it's a control ball.
Right.
That, almost anyone can get away with, unless you really have a low rev rate.
Low speed, low rev rate.
And then it's going to probably spark early and just look like shit at the ends.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's even that bowler can find a pattern to make it work.
Right.
It's just, the right time.
But it's just interesting to me how that seems to be just that one ball creating multiple rule changes.
Talking about it, yeah.
Right. I mean, multiple rule changes for one ball. And crazy. I'll tell you, I throw them. I love them. And they give me a look that I can't get with anything else. And I throw other urethanes too. It's not like I don't throw other urethanes.
Right.
That ball is great. And I love it. So I'll be curious. I'll throw a 78. I'll see when, whenever the time comes. And maybe it's not going to be that perfect. Maybe it'll be something else. Hey, shout out to the old blue pearl hammers back in the day. That was a great one too. The old red pearls.
I think if you go 78, you have to do something other than just change the color of the pin. You got to go harken back to the blue pearl, the red pearl hammer, something. Yeah. Do something where it's definitely
that pink was hard back in the day.
Yeah. But just something that's completely noticeable.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see. At the same time, you look at the PBA level. You can give these motherfuckers a goddamn Jayhawk house ball. Right. They're going to whack them. They're going to find a way to whack them. These guys are good. They're in the center all the time.
They're the best in the world.
Right. So they're going to find a way to whack them.
Right.
You can try to cripple them as much as possible.
Right. I mean, I understand trying to, quote unquote, level the playing field, but it gets to a point of, is it leveling or targeting? We don't know yet. We'll find out.
Sure.
We'll find out.
Sure.
All right, so we're moving on. We got a lot to cover here. Carl Hungus, our boy who owns Bayside Bowl, buys another bowling center. Broadway Bowl is now born.
Yeah.
The old Sea Dog bowling center.
Which was Easy Day.
Which used to be Easy Day. Yeah. And when it started. And super pumped for that because we know if Hungus owns it, it's going to be done right.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it allows him to expand that Bayside Bowl brand into another center.
Yep.
Broadway Bowl, what a great, just fits right in, right? It's awesome.
Yeah.
The logo's great. The colors are great. We like it as Sharks. That nice teal.
Oh, yeah.
So that's great with our Sharks colors, right? So we'll have to have a team practice over there at least.
Fuck yeah. So I'm hoping that we expand to like east side, west side, south side, type of deal.
Oh, yeah, because it's in SoPo. Yeah.
Maybe we can eliminate the second shift.
Listen,
Thursdays.
I'm fine with the south side. Just don't play that terrible Moby song, South Side.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Just don't do that.
You're right.
Because, I like the South Side thing. Just not the song.
So, and to be quite honest, we've known about this for a long time, and I'm going to drop a big bomb here. we're going to be taking the youth league in Portland. We're going to be taking it, and we're going to have it in the inaugural year of Broadway Bowl.
Oh,
we'll
okay.
have the Portland Youth League.
All right.
So we're actually going to start the league at Bayside, where the Broadway Bowl is looking to open just after league time starts. So we'll have a few weeks at Bayside, and then we're going to be the first year Broadway Bowl is going to have the Portland Youth League.
Right on. That's awesome. Look at that. That was
something that
what a
Charlie
what
and
a surprise tonight. Look at you dropping knowledge on the people. So.
Well, Charlie and I have had this in the works for a while,
Okay.
but to be fair, we wanted to wait till the deal was pretty much set in stone. It's on a contract now, so it's pretty much a go.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's great. Yeah. So look at that, folks. Bang. Broadway Bowl is going to have a Portland Youth League.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. I'm pretty excited for you guys. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and we're looking into ways to try to expand the high school programs. We figure now with 2 bowling alleys, if we can try to expand the program, maybe even have it be 2 separate locations. So we could have like an actual north and an actual south. But of course, we need the bowlers. So high school bowlers. If you guys have any friends that are, high school age that need a sport to do, if you have any friends that are ADs in these schools or in the school departments, have any sort of, connections or ins to try to be able to advertise it so we can get high school bowlers out there, it'd be great, man. If we could add a few more teams to the league, it's just awesome. It's a great time. I have plenty of bowlers that their only sport is bowling. But I also have bowlers that play other sports as well. Yep. So, it's a sport for anyone, as we've talked about plenty of times. But especially for your high school kids, if you can get them interested in it, let's try to expand that high school league.
For sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Carl Hungus, our commissioner now, owner of multiple bowling centers.
Yeah, and super excited.
It'll be cool. Like, can you put a taco truck on the top of Broadway Bowl?
Well, they have this killer outdoor patio that sits right out at the water.
Yes, that's right.
So it's going to be a fucking cool
It's going to be a destination, for sure.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it right. Hungus will do it right. The staff, it'll be great.
He's already got a winning logo that, kind of matches the Bayside
vibe
Bowl.
and everything.
For
sure.
He's really doing it right.
See, that's why I wore this. Got to wear the Bayside Bowl shirt when we were talking about expanding the Broadway Bowl. So, you got the junior gold because guess what? You're heading up. We'll talk about that too. So
very soon. Yeah.
Speaking of which, we're going to segue right into our next. Actually, we got a comment coming in. Randy Plummer, Couch. I'm just happy to know the Bud 2 will pass all hardness tests, so my 2 300s won't have an asterisk. I have a 300 with a Bud 2 as well, so that's. I have a 300 with a Wine Rhino.
That was a pretty good ball. That one came in with some surface.
It did. Yeah.
I don't think it was quite as surface as some of the chalky ones, but it had some surface.
Yeah, I remember the original Phantoms. The Black Phantom was pretty chalky.
Pretty chalky.
The Black Rhino was chalky.
Yeah, for a black bowling ball.
Chalky. It looked great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until you got some lane oil in it.
Yeah.
And it looked black.
Yeah.
But.
And I think that's where the hardness is going to change the game.
Yeah.
Because if you remember back in the day, those balls lane shined in a fucking instant.
Yeah. Oh,
totally lane shined. So now your players like your Jesper Svensson that might have had a 6-game block that brought 6 balls to that 6-game block, with the USBC because they couldn't surface them. What does he bring 12 of them now?
Right.
Because it's going to lane shine that much
faster. Go to the next one, go to the next one. Fresh cover all the time.
Every 5 frames now, you're going to have to go to a fresh cover.
Could be.
Rather than the whole game.
It could be.
Because I think that's where the difference is going to be in the hardness of these urethanes. Is how quick do they lane shine? Because you're putting surface on them.
Right.
Because there ain't anyone out there shooting a shiny fucking purple hammer. Sure, I have one. Splinter has one.
Spares mostly.
For spares,
low volume or something.
Splinter's got fucking the meat hook mitt. He gets the fucking hand in the ball, so he can use the shiny purple.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised more people on tour haven't shined it, but hey, they like using it with surface. It's all good with surface.
Right.
You can contest that, Frankie.
Absolutely, I agree. I don't use them. 2000's about as high as I go on a surface. I've used that and had success at 2000, but I like 1000 is a pretty good surface for me. It's a pretty good. Most of my urethanes is 1000's a good surface.
Yeah.
I'll throw 500 on one if I need to get it to start a little faster. A lot of times I'll have 3 purples. I'll have a 500, 1000, and a 2000 with me.
There you go.
So that pretty much covers whatever I need. So, but Speaking of urethanes, my favorite urethane before the Purple Hammers, you know what it was? Was the Pink Stingray.
Oh wow, the Columbia.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great urethane ball, by the way.
Remember that Stingray C?
Yeah, that was a teal. That was resin.
That was pretty dope.
And it had ceramic core in it, which was awesome. So,
yeah,
that ball was pretty good. All right, so DV8 Bowl for Life Shootout coming up. The 3 oil patterns for that are your 46-foot Petraglier, your 40-foot Johnson, and your 35-foot Cheetah.
And last I knew, there was still openings for that. So
definitely.
Because,
go to juniorbowling.com. Check them out on Facebook. They have a group there. I'm sure they have all the information for you to be able to get into the DV8 Shootout. It's a no-brainer. You get into the tournament, you'll get the DV8, the ball that they're giving out this year is the Troublemaker.
The Troublemaker, yeah.
So we announced that right here on the show with Travis Sparks from juniorbowling.com.
Along with those oil patterns.
Along with the oil patterns. So definitely, that's a no-brainer. You can also pay to try to do a junior gold entry for the next year. You pay a little extra for that. Why not? Right. Honestly, it's stupid not to. I mean, we did that with Avery before. She would get her junior gold spot if she bowled good, and she did. And bang, didn't have to worry about it for the whole next year. She's already into the next year's junior gold. Great.
Yeah.
So
it's perfect.
No-brainer. Get into the juniorbowling.com DV8 Bowl for Life Shootout. Get a great ball. The Troublemaker is a great ball, and get experience on bowling on a bunch of tough oil patterns before you start junior gold. It's a great tune-up, as well as there's good prize money in it, for scholarship money, bowling ball, junior gold spots, the whole thing. Yeah. Just do it while you're there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a great event, a great tune-up. And, I know that the DV8 build the Troublemaker as your two-hander ball or your no-thumb ball. But I got to tell you, we drilled a bunch of them with thumb in, and that performance of that bowling ball.
Oh, it's incredible. Look what Splinter's done with it. He shot 300 or 299. I mean, he's just killed it with that ball. That ball's been amazing for him. So.
And then we drilled them for the Bernowski boys. And we just whacked them.
One of them shot 300 with it. The one he got it from us.
First day.
Yeah, from the shop.
So, there's thumbers and no thumbers right there, right off the bat that we can think of, just absolutely whacking them with that ball. One of the best balls DV8's come out with, maybe since the DGV.
Could be. Yeah, absolutely.
Damn good verge.
Damn good verge. And to me, like their last three, the best balls that I have liked is the Vandal, then the damn good verge, and now this Troublemaker. To me, like that's kind of your goats for DV8 in my opinion. There's some great balls I've had over the years, but those three to me stand out.
Right. I mean, the damn good verge was so good.
It's such a versatile piece.
It was, like that versatile benchmark symmetric.
Yeah.
But now the Troublemaker is so good because it's like that high tech, that they're actually getting into almost like what Radical and Track does with all this,
Radical's done it with the big foot, you know what I mean? With the spikes coming out of it, and you can change it based on where you lay out the weight block and stuff.
Even for symmetric technology that they had, was kind of that idea too.
Right. I mean, this is what you have to do, and that's why you have these people on your payrolls to design this stuff, especially with the weight hold rules. This is what you do. You can't have weight holds anymore. We need to have weight blocks so you can kind of manipulate and get things when you drill them a certain way to get you reactions that would get you close to what you used to be able to get by fine-tuning it with a weight hold, because you can't do that anymore. So, next topic, Andrew Anderson announced in the Bowl with the Pros event, September 21st at Spare Time Augusta. Our friend and friend of the show, Sean Rash, is spearheading that event. Sean does a great job with these clinics. And so Andrew Anderson is now tagged into that, and we'll put right at the bottom of the screen on the ticker the ones that have been announced so far. We have Sean Rash, Wes Malott, Marshall Kent, Matt Ogle, Andrew Anderson. More to come. I think it's going to be a total of 12, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what the number was they were shooting for.
Depending on entries, I'm sure you know what I mean. But if they'll max out at 12. But right now, you got 5 on the books and 5 great coaches, great bowlers. So it'll be a great time for everyone going up there. Definitely check it out. Check out Spare Time Augusta online, either on their website or on their Facebook page. I'm sure they have the event info right on there.
Yeah, give them a call. Talk to Donna.
Yep, they'll hook you guys right up with it. Yeah. So we just wanted to give that information out there for everyone because, Sean's a great friend of the show. We've had him on, and we're hoping to get Wes and some of the other pros on the show, hopefully in the coming weeks. Maybe we'll get like a nice 3 or 4 person box, and we'll talk to a bunch of them all at once. That'd be a really good time.
And Donna, friend of the show, and
Absolutely.
A great supporter of youth bowling. So I got to give a shout out to her on that. Give her a contact, and tell her that you want to join into that clinic.
For sure.
I know a lot of people have already joined up, but they still have room open.
They have room. Yep.
I mean, that's like a 24-lane center, so you got to figure with 12 coaches, they could probably get a lot of fucking bowlers in there.
Yeah, and there's also one coming up at Just in Time. With Tommy Jones.
Tommy Jones.
Yep.
And that one's going to include a bowling ball, either an ebonite or hammer bowling ball. They haven't been announced yet what they are. Right. So I'm not sure if it's a ball of choice, but I do believe that one's going to be $250, and that's actually in August, I think, isn't it? Not
yes,
September.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah, because the one in Augusta is in September. I do believe we'll probably have. Unless you can pull up.
Yeah, let me pull it up there while you look. I'm sure I can find it.
It's going to be a ebonite or hammer bowl ball. Not sure which one. Tommy, if you're watching right now, maybe you can comment, or even Justin, if you have that info.
August 23rd. It's August 23rd.
We might not even know, because I do know I have heard little birdies talking about potentially new bowling balls in the works in the Brunswick family of bowling balls, which ebonite and hammer are included in.
Absolutely.
Like that Evo Response there that's coming out. That kind of looks sexy. That Brunswick Quantum Evo Response. But anyways,
that's a great looking piece.
So August 23rd, I think you said, Just in Time Recreation with Tommy Jones. I do know you can contact Just in Time and tell them that you want to sign up. I do believe there's something like you have to pay within 24 hours of signing up, or your spot may go to someone else.
Yeah, so our the pro shop we work in, owned by Jimmy Clark, is actually kind of a co-host of this event. So it's $250. It includes 2.5 hours of clinic and lane time, a hammer or ebonite bowling ball, and the meal. I mean, that's a really good event. They have the entry. If you go on Just in Time Recreation on Facebook, it shows you how to enter. One entry per person. If you are chosen, you'll have 24 hours to pay, or your slot is given to the next person in line. It is going to be limited, it looks like, to 32 entries will be drawn at random on July 15th. So that's coming right up. So if you want to try to get in for this, to enter into it, definitely get on there and enter your name into it to make sure you're eligible to at least get drawn for this clinic, because it is a limited amount of people allowed into this.
And it sounds like it's a random draw. So make sure you're on the list. Sign up. Contact Just in Time Recreation, Lewiston, Maine, either by their website. I'm sure you could probably stop in and tell them to. But you might want to emailing is usually the best. I know we like email because of time and date stamps the emails, and we go by that in order for our entries. But it looks like this might be a random lottery.
I'm guessing,
so
something like that.
So that different.
So we have some comments coming in. Randy Plumber actually circling back. Widow 2.0 hybrid is awesome. It's working on all the patterns so far this summer. It's a great ball. Derek Mishu said, "What's up, guys?" He goes, "I can't do both. Love to bowl in front of Tommy." Well, Derek, you can put your name in there and just see if you can get drawn for that, and then you have 24 hours to basically get your entry fee in.
That's
and
a
that's
fucking hell of a deal. 2.5 hours of lane time plus a
$250
ball
plus the ball.
$250.
Right.
Plus a meal.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah. And the pro shop is going to hook you up. It looked like with some reduced fee for the drilling and stuff. So
I did
shout
see
out to
that
Jimmy
as well.
Clark for making that happen. Natalie asked if it's a ball of choice. I believe they're going to have an option of the ebonite or hammer ball.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one it is yet. It's probably going to be a choice of, I don't know. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying an Emerge or a Widow 2.0 hybrid or something. I'm not saying what they are. I'm just saying, like, that's your two options. You can pick from one of those.
Right now, it is very vague. It says a ebonite or hammer ball.
Right. So
maybe they might have one out of each line, and you can choose. Like,
it's hard to say.
Hey, I want that ebonite ball, or hey, I want that, hammer ball.
So that is coming up. So keep that on the calendars. We will mention it again. Actually, after they get into that drawing, probably the next show we have, we can maybe give the list of people that are into the clinic. So
maybe that's part of making sure it gets paid, because then you have to pick the ball, because let's face it, Tommy's going to have to ship all those fucking balls up here with him.
Oh, okay. Natalie said, I was confirming. I made the flyer. I was told you'd get to choose. I'm guessing you get to choose which one of the ebonite or hammer. I don't know if it's ball of choice. I really don't know. But it's I don't have any more information on that. I haven't heard anything.
Does she have any more info?
If you have more info, Natalie, please put it in here. We'll put your comments up on the screen, because she's the one that she made the flyer for it.
Yeah.
If you have any extra info that didn't make it to the flyer, we'll definitely get it on the screen for people.
Is it
for sure.
anything in the Ebonite lineup, anything in the Hammer
lineup or
or is it
whatever.
a specific Ebonite or a specific?
And maybe that hasn't quite been worked out yet, but if it has, we'll definitely get it up there. So we don't want to give people false information. That's
Either way, you're going to get a bowling ball. You're going to get
That's
2.5 hours with Tommy Jones.
Right. You're going to get a meal. The whole thing.
You know, pretty good deal.
Yeah.
For sure.
So high score shout outs. Check this out. How about our boy, fellow
Team Rift, baby.
Rift apparel staffer, David Simard. What a couple of months this guy's had. Let me just tell you, Dave Simard, I've known Dave a long time.
He's a fucking great guy.
Great guy. Yeah. Bowled up in Canada with him before, bowled missed tournaments with him before, bowled everything, right?
Bowls it so good, too.
So, guy comes and wins the Hungus 8K, all right, in May. Just throws it great.
Absolutely great.
Goes out to the USBC Open Championships. It takes over the lead in singles.
Yeah.
And I think he's sitting third all events.
Yes.
I mean, unbelievable. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, it's not. It's unbelievable, but it's not. I mean, unbelievable to be leading singles at the Open Championships when the tournament's going to be ending fairly soon. Like we're right up against it here, right?
Right.
So that would be unbelievable. Congratulations to Dave, fellow Rift Apparel staffer, by the way. Yeah, we're Team Rift guys all the way. And Dave is just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Super pumped for him. So congratulations to Dave. Hopefully that score holds up. If it holds up, even if it doesn't, Dave, I'm going to contact you. I actually talked to Dave last night. We were in a, I sent him a message and we were talking about what he used. He said he actually used a pitch black to start the first two games in doubles and singles, and then went to his Old Faithful. I knew it was. I knew he would. His IQ Tour, because he has like 6 of them that he carries with him, and just absolutely crushed him. The urethane for him kind of set it up, pushed the pattern down a little bit for him, lengthened the pattern a little, and then he was off to the races. And he said it was unbelievable. And congratulations to Dave. And definitely, we'll get him on here for an interview. We interviewed him after the 8K when we were on with $2 Phil. It was a lot of fun, and so we'll get him on our show here. Natalie says, circling back, I wasn't told any specifics about the ball you can choose from, except it has to be Hammer or Ebonite. Okay, perfect. So that's all we know at this point. And if we get more information, obviously we will definitely put it out there for everybody. So
maybe we'll talk to.
The flyer does look great, though, Natalie. It's got all the info on there, so you did a wonderful job with that. By the way, I love how it looks. So.
Side note, Natalie's like our IT person too for FDDS.
All right, excellent.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, whether she wants to be or not.
You're gonna be. You're our IT person.
Yeah.
You're our go-to. So congratulations to Dave. Had to give him a little plug there in the high score shout-outs because he's just awesome.
Absolutely.
And,
Team Rift, baby.
So Main State Junior Gold Bowlers are gearing up for their trip to Indy. And we just wanted to say, speaking of Team Rift, major shout out to Nathan and the rest of the team at Rift for creating awesome custom jerseys. The design came out great. We saw the picture that you guys posted online.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal. The shirts look amazing. So well done by Rift. Well done, obviously, by you working hard on that. So well done.
Yeah.
And the kids are going to look awesome out there in Indy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Nathan really knocked it out of the park with the design. And, it was a kind of an idea that Amy had, it was kind of a dream that she had wanted to make happen. I contacted Nathan and was like, hey, I'm friends with the Main State Junior Gold Tournament Director. Can we make this happen for her? And we did. We had our first Junior Gold clinic that Jimmy Clark and I
put that right up on our screen now. There it is.
And we gave out the jerseys, and those that showed up to the clinic, we took that nice little picture of the matching jerseys, and I cannot wait for those of you Maine Junior Gold bowlers that signed up to do the state walk. Make sure you wear those jerseys and wear them proudly. It's going to be really cool because I've been to Junior Gold. You've been to Junior Gold, and some of these states do have matching jerseys.
They do,
and they look fucking dope.
Yeah.
So Maine is going to be one of those states this year.
It's going to be great. So looking forward to the kids out there competing and having a good time, and basically soak it all in. You might go once, you might go many times, but every time you go, soak it all in and just take it in and just enjoy the moment. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just have a good time. So.
The other thing I like about these jerseys too, Frankie, is like these are jerseys, they have their players' names on the back. These jerseys they can wear to any other real tournament where they need a real bowling jersey with their name on it.
Sure.
They'll be able to have those for years to come because these Rift Apparel jerseys are not only comfortable, they're durable, they look good.
Then they're lightweight, you don't get too hot in them. They're the real deal for sure.
Yeah,
so
and the image holds up very well through washing and everything.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah. big shout out to Rift Apparel. You guys that are looking for new jerseys, go check them out, riftapparel.com.
Yep, I just had the website up on.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out our Frankie Avalon designs, our KDD designs, our FDDS designs. You know,
right? Because you have 4 customs now. I have 4 customs, and we have our custom FDDS one. So
in two different colors now.
2 different colors. So the purple and the black.
Yeah.
So I mean, basically, there's 10 different options for you to choose from right there.
Right there. Yeah.
You know, they'll definitely get on the website at some point. Hopefully, that'll be great for people to just click on them. So, and I know they're working on updating the website and everything. So
I know one of our good friends, Stephen Cloutier, had a custom design jersey done by Rick. You know, his bowling name is Camping Therapy.
Yeah.
And they made him this really dope custom design jersey. I got to tell you, you know, custom design jerseys, you're going to spend money.
Oh,
you know, anyways on them. They're going to be expensive, but some of these designs that Rift is coming out with are absolutely top notch.
They are.
And,
they're great.
You know, the pricing on them is really pretty fucking good.
It's really good. Yeah, for what you pay for, it's worth every dollar you spend.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree. Yeah. So check them out, Rift Apparel. You know, make sure you hashtag request Rift and wear your FDDS jerseys, your Frankie jerseys, like the Coles.
Yeah, they have the skulls and the zombies. That was great.
That was so cool to see them wear those. You know, if you're liking coffee, you can get one of the new KDD ones.
You like lighthouses, you got that. You got the grounders.
We got it all covered, Frankie. You know, so check out our signature designs.
For sure.
Check out Rift Apparel. You won't be disappointed.
I agree, 100%. So let's get into the next thing. Miss Matchplay. You see the board behind me. That's the big board. Obviously, to be updated with all the new information for the tournament coming up. You see the ticker.
Miss Matchplay time.
Yeah.
You buying or you frying?
Yeah. Are you going to be at O2 Barbecue or are you going to be advancing to make a couple grand? So $100 entry for the tournament. Go across your screen. $2,000 to the winner. More than $5 grand in total payouts. We got Bowler Builders Pro Shops coming on with a little financial kicker. That'll be something we announce tournament day for the bowlers, something that we've never done before. As far as this goes, but it's pretty cool. Ace Mitchell stepping up. We're going to be raffling off 2 balls for the event, a DV8 Chill, and what was the other one that we got from that?
The Crypto Boom,
Radical Crypto Boom. So Radical Crypto Boom DV8 Chill. We're going to be raffling those off tournament day. $100 entry. Now this is single elimination. This is a major. Out of our major titles, out of our 4 major titles for the season, this one counts. So if you have not won a title in either the Carls, the Mist, or the FDDS Tournament Series, this is basically your last chance to get into the Tournament of Champions happening this fall. So, but this title counts as a major. So when we talk about Hall of Fame eligibility and stuff, this is a big one. This is a lot of weight on this title. This comes once a year. It's a hard tournament to win because it's all match play. Basically best out of 3, head-to-head, no total pins, just got to win your match. And it's a tough one to win. You got to make top 8 to make money. You got to win 3 rounds, and $2 grand to the winner though for $100 entry fee is pretty good money. So
I have a question for you, Frankie. Yeah. We have a stack of poker chips over here.
Yeah.
You mind explaining to the folks at home what these poker chips are for
and
how they tie in to this epic Mist Match Play tournament that Frankie and Ding Dong Show has now been sponsoring for 3 years?
Yes, sir. So there's numbers associated with a 64-player bracket. The numbers are kind of thrown around here on the board, basically the same way you would do like a March Madness bracket, basically, 64-player bracket.
Yep.
Chips go in. This one here happens to be number 61. You go in, you draw your chip. Now, we used to do this a few days before the event in like a draw party. What we were finding was sometimes someone would draw a player like a Dave Samard. And then maybe they would say, I can't make it Sunday. I can't make it Sunday. So we would see a lot of dropouts, right? And then I'm not saying that's the reason, but it could be the reason.
Could be the reason.
So now what we do is when you come tournament day and you pay your entry, after you pay your entry, you draw your chip. You draw your chip. Oh, number 61.
And we tell you what lane you're on.
Right, you're on the board, tell you what lane you're on, and then maybe your opponent's already been drawn before you, or maybe they haven't. So that's how that works. You draw your chip after you pay your entry fee, and then it's a lot of fun. So
you know what? One year I drew at the draw party, and I drew Johnny DV8, and I still showed up, and I still obviously got O2 barbecued because Johnny DV8 is fucking good.
Erica, she goes, I'm confused. When you want to strike, should you take the pin out or leave it in?
You want to take all the pins out when you strike.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
One ball, all the pins.
Right.
That's all you need to know, Erica.
Right. That's it.
Yeah. Leave the pin in and pin out stuff to us at the pro shop.
Right.
And all you need to know is if you don't knock them all down with one ball, knock the fucking rest of them down with the second ball.
And this ain't candle pin, so you don't get a third chance.
Yeah. No dead one either.
I don't like candle pin. Anyways, so that's a mismatch play coming up July 23rd. We are full at 64. We have a waiting list, I believe, 15 deep right now. But guess what? Still get on the waiting list. If you haven't yet, definitely email the Frankie and Ding Dong Show at gmail.com, the Frankie and Ding Dong Show at gmail.com. Tell them you're registering for mismatch play. You never know, even if you're on the waiting list and the tournament's full day of, show up at the event, because what happens if someone doesn't show up that was on the list? You can get in. So that's how it works.
You can squeak your way into $2,000.
You could squeak your way into $2,000. We've seen it happen before. Someone walk in day of and make it all the way. So do not delay. Get on the waiting list. And if you're on the waiting list, even if you're 10th on the waiting list, you don't think you'll get in day of the tournament, show up, especially if you're in the area anyways. Why wouldn't you? Bring your equipment.
Worst thing that can happen is you have a couple drinks and watch some awesome bowling.
Right. So we'll have a high game pot. We'll have the ball raffles. The high game pot's really cool, and it's awesome because basically you pay $20 for the high game pot, and it covers the first 2 games, the first 2 rounds. Okay. So you're basically betting on yourself, hopefully making it at least 2 rounds.
Yeah.
If you don't make it 2 rounds, well, you only get 2 games, right?
Yeah.
To go for high game pot. But the cool thing about it that is $5 per bowler goes in for each of those games. So if we were to get all 64 bowlers in, that's $320 that we could pay per game in high game pots. Right. Now we would probably break that up between like a first and second or whatever, but still
maybe even 3
spots.
Yeah.
But the more they get in for only $20, if you could have a crappy day and bowl one massive game, and all of a sudden you're making a decent amount of money.
Right.
So high game pot is always worth it. So we don't do the brackets because you're not guaranteed to bowl 3 games, and you need the 3 games for the bracket. So, but the high game pot, a bigger high game pot like that, definitely makes it worth it. So it's a lot of fun, and so that's another thing we offer with that. And Bull Bills Pro Shops already offered free drilling for the winning raffle balls, and they also got a little special financial kicker coming for the event, but we'll save for day of the event. I'm not gonna spoil the rest of it for that. So.
Yeah, and the other cool thing is about the raffle ball is you don't have to be bowling in the tournament. You could have been that guy that showed up and didn't get in.
Absolutely.
You get into the raffle for the raffle ball and still maybe walk away with a bowling ball.
You could, absolutely.
Even not having to throw a bowling ball all day. So
or if you're watching the tournament, that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to bowl. You could be working. You could be one of the staff at the bowling center. I mean, Hexie's done it, bought tickets before, so you know what? Why not?
Hexie's won 2, I think. While she was
she has. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So even if you're just there as a spectator, because as we know, bowling, especially at Bayside, can be a spectator sport. Get into the raffle, man. You can walk away with a bowling ball, and who doesn't like a brand new bowling ball? And Bowl Builders Pro Shop, Jimmy Clark, the owner, Master Splinter, where you work, Frankie, where I work, and we have our PWBA superstar Mallory Clark, representing us out on tour. Giving you the drilling, Ace Mitchell.
With the bowling balls, giving us the bowling balls, just putting that up there for them real quick.
Big thanks to all those companies. Big thanks to Bayside Bowl, obviously.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to it. I know we're kind of cranking on time for you guys, but we want to get to a couple of quick reviews that we've done for some equipment. KDD, I'm going to start with you. You have 2 Stealth Pearls sitting over there, a couple of beautiful pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
You tell me which one you want to start with, and I will put that picture on the screen for the people. So you basically have drilled 2 of those with completely different layouts, and I am curious as to what you are seeing out of this fine piece of equipment.
So, the first one I drilled was a pin-up layout.
There it is. I'm going to put it on the screen for everyone.
Probably one of my favorite go-to pin-up layouts for a symmetric ball, 5 3/4 by 25. Just so happens my PAP is 5 3/8.
5 3/8 by 25.
But my PAP is 5 3/8 over, so I think that's why I like that layout so much. Pin distance on symmetrics. Really great ball that clears the fronts really well for a high diff bowling ball. and where that pin-up design, it gets those nice light hits really good, those light shakers. It will run over the 8-pin if you have the right conditions, but it really does shine with the lighter hits and getting through the fronts really well. Really, really great piece of equipment. Does respond to the friction very hard, as you can imagine, with that 25 back angle. Throws the pin way up there, gets down, makes a move. Tons and tons of flare. I can actually make this ball flare the dry flares back over the initial oil flares. That's how much this ball flares with the pin-up layout. Crazy, crazy good. So good that Splinter and I were talking, and we wanted to do something crazy because I struggle when, house shot, lots of friction outside,
get sensitive,
cliffed, that type of thing. So we wanted to try something crazy. So I drilled the second stealth
I'm gonna put on the
and
now.
As you can see, the second stealth curl, we went way, way, way pinned down, 4 3/4 by 85 on the back angle. Puts the pin just above the midline of my center grip. This ball, you can definitely see the weight block starting up earlier. It definitely has a longer hook window for sure. When there's a bunch of oil out there, this ball looks weaker. It's really crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, when we were practicing,
it looked weaker right off the bat.
Right off the bat,
the pin up looked like it was stronger because it would ride through the oil great, and then it would see the back of the pattern, and then it was like fucking game on, right?
Right.
The pin down one, the weight block would start up, but it just wouldn't really get going enough in the back to make it there. Now, fast forward an hour and a half of us bowling on it, the pin down one starting up early now actually was circling the lane, running over the 8-pin, getting those really great hits. Whereas the pin up one, I could move in just a little bit. It would get through the fronts a little better, and it would definitely carry the light hits better in that zone, where this one was actually being nice and round, banana ball, as El Nino would say, and running over the 8-pin. Yeah. Crazy how the reaction is different. I'm curious if you guys have ever drilled the same ball, pin up and pin down, what you've seen. Go ahead and throw that in the comments. We can talk about that. Yep. But yeah, we made some videos. I just need to have some time to do some editing to put up a video for you, so that way you can see both of these balls in action. The Track Stealth Pearl. If you like the Track Stealth, I'm telling you, the Stealth Pearl with the HK22, even better than this original Stealth. The other funny thing is the pin down one doesn't flare as much as the pin up one does. The pin up one, like I said, I can get the whole ball to flare. I can actually get the dry rings to flare over the initial oil rings if I really want to, if I really want to get on it. The pin down doesn't flare nearly as much. Limited to probably 4 to 6 inches of flare on this ball. Yeah. Where I have almost unlimited flare.
And tighter rings too, a little bit on that.
A little bit tighter. Yeah. And it's weird. What we found was really strange is the bow tie and the flare. Yeah. I'm not shitting you. Yeah, it's fun. The bow tie and the flare was over the USB-C logo on my pin-up ball. And we noticed that, right? So even though it's flaring the entire ball, the bow tie was over the USB-C logo. I threw the pin down one, not flaring nearly as much. The initial flares starting closer to my fingers and thumb. Yep. But guess where the fucking bow tie was? Right over the USB-C label. Yeah. It was really crazy. So it's crazy to see that. And I think, obviously Frankie and I are going to do a little bit more testing on this because we measured the distance, and it's a specific distance from the CG to that USB-C logo on all track bowl balls. Yeah. Track specifically. Right. So we're going to do some more testing to see if maybe that is where the CG comes into play, is where that bow tie goes or is on your bowl ball.
Well, it would make, it definitely makes it, as far as knowing if that's a consistent thing from bowler to bowler. Now, is that if it is, it makes our job easier in the pro shop, knowing that ahead of time on the track ball, saying, okay, if we know the bow tie is going to be there, and it's going to flare off of that, giving people layouts so that we know they don't track over finger holes or thumb holes or anything, and know kind of manipulate that in a certain direction. So it's definitely another tool in the toolbox. We're always looking at stuff like this. So that was a great look by you to see that. So and we definitely measured it all out.
100% totally nerdy, but we were measuring.
That's the stuff. We go the extra mile. Like when we talk about working in the pro shop and trying to take care of things for customers, that's something we're going to keep in mind and something we're going to research further to see how that actually plays out. So it's pretty cool. That's really cool, and I like the comparison of the two balls. And I'm glad you drilled two of them because that's going to give you a couple of different looks.
Yeah, well, and honestly, this ball is that fucking good. The other ball that I would probably drill two of right now is the sensor. Yeah, I mean, those track symmetrics right now are absolutely dope.
They are.
The Tundra Fire. If you need something that's long and strong,
yeah, that's a good ball.
That ball is crazy good. Those tracks Pearl symmetrics right now are fucking
hard to beat.
Yeah,
they're hard to beat.
Yeah, but honestly, you have another purplish ball over there, Frankie. I want to hear a little bit about that. I didn't get to drill one of these. Strong ASIM Pearl, right?
Strong ASIM Pearl. This is I'm going to put on the screen for everyone. The Ebonite Emerge, a new offering. Pearl, big ASIM from the Ebonite family. Here it is on your screen. And I went with a strong layout. I'm a little bit of a higher tilt guy. Not as high as I used to be, because when I just measured myself, I was around 19, 20, which is kind of really good for me. I used to be 26, 27, a little bit higher than that. So this I did 50 by 3.5 by 40. So it does do a little bit of an inverse thing for me, right? It definitely flares up. It's a high flaring layout. We got the dot technology, so I didn't have to care about being close to the finger insert, which I love.
Very cool.
That's a nice part about the technology we have. Is the dynamic core, has the HK22.
Yep.
The color's great. Just a great resin base to this ball, and you can definitely see it. So it definitely, even though it's a 3.5-inch pin, it still gets through the fronts and the mids really well for an ASIM. And I drilled it the same as I did back with a track Kinetic Black Ice, which was a ball that you and I both really liked. And that ball was phenomenal for me, not only on the house shots but on some of the sports stuff too. I wanted this to be a big, versatile piece of equipment. I have the one remix. I wanted something to be a complement to that. That one remix definitely chews through the middle of the lane and just continue. This is a little bit longer than the one remix, but I would say maybe only 1 to 2 boards left. Like the one remix probably outhooks this by a board or two total. Pretty close, but it's just different shape. This one just gets it further down lane. The one remix starts picking up, and it's just gradual. That's just awesome. And the one remix is such a great piece of equipment.
But makes sense because it's a solid, technically.
It is,
with
right.
Compound.
With compound, right. Yeah, it's a solid. But this one here, so for me, actually, a 3.5-inch pin for an asymmetric actually helps me save a little bit of tilt rather than burning it off. The longer pins on the ASIMs burn the tilt off a little bit faster. It's just opposite when you think of symmetrics, retain tilt, the longer pin, burn tilt off with the shorter pin. So
just makes it quick.
Right, exactly. So this one definitely gives me still that quick motion, but the 40-degree back angle makes it not too sensitive, which is what I like. So you saw the video. I think I've already got a couple thousand views on the reel I put up 2 days ago. And I'll probably put up some more videos with this ball because I really like it. And I got baller videos coming out for the Radical Crypto Boom, the Radical Sneak Attack Solid, which is a really good piece of equipment. Great benchmark symmetric solid if you don't have one of those.
Especially if you're encountering friction, right?
Correct, right. So that Sneak Attack Solid is definitely that smooth piece of equipment. Always, it's going to be one of those that's always in your bag. Sports shot, house shot. It's going to have a place in your bag. Just leave it in there.
Lanes.
Right. You can move in. You can loft it. You can do whatever you want. It's still going to be a pretty... Oh, we have Sexcalibur checking in. He says, hi. He says, we love you guys. Beastie Bowlers for life. Absolutely. Yes, always Beastie Bowlers for life. Absolutely, brother. So thank you for checking in, Sexcalibur, one of our Beastie Bowler teammates. And had a good time. He was out in... Reno with us this year with our group, and I believe he'll be going out with our group again next year, so that'll be a lot of fun.
I love the memes we send in our group.
I know, they're phenomenal, so awesome, for sure. So that Ebonite Emerge coming out July 13th. That's the layout I put on it. Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this, so I'm actually looking forward to drilling a Katana Strike when that comes out. That's another one. That's a hybrid with HK22. And I'm going to do a stronger layout for that. I think I'm going to do that, the 40 by 4 1/4 by 75, something like that.
Down.
Pin down,
Yeah.
stronger pin down, which will give me longer pin down, like I have with the Katana Assault, which I have a 5-inch pin down. This one will be 4 1/4, and I got this one pin up, and I have my the Trailblazer Innovator. This one's got a 6-inch pin up. That one's actually rolls really well.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a good mix of both. But the Emerge definitely a little bit quicker response ball than the One Remix, but it's a good 1-2 if you want 2 ASIMs. You got the Pearl, you got the Solid. Can't go wrong. So definitely a couple good offerings from Ebonite.
I think the One would be better if you need a little bit more mid-lane read, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Sexcalibur says, "Ew, pin down. Get out of here with that talk." I'm telling you, Sexcalibur on ASIMs especially, you should have some pin downs in your bag. I cannot overstate that enough.
Mo would have told you to bring your spare one.
Only with a symmetric.
Well,
Mo was on board with the ASIM pin downs.
if you have high tip. Yeah.
Right, correct. So, but anyways, so I like them, but not, we tailor it to your game. So
Right.
if you don't like pin down and you're the customer,
We'll give you
we'll give you what you like. We'll make it work for you for sure. Absolutely.
You
So,
give dollar, we make you holla.
that's right. So Ebonite Emerge coming out July 13th, and that is our show tonight, folks. We covered some ball reviews for you. We covered the PBA going full Viagra on the urethane.
Cialis PBA.
Yeah. So Uralis, gonna go Uralis. So
You're
it was a
right.
great show tonight. It was a little long. I mean, we're over an hour, but that happens when we're having a good time and talking. We had a lot of stuff to cover tonight.
And we said it was going to be a short show tonight.
AJ, well, how do you feel about the show tonight?
I think it was great, guys.
He's in Iowa there. Him and Avery visiting some family. He had a couple clinics to do, and he's going to be in Wisconsin bowling the PBA League Bowl Championship. So hopefully he kicks some butt out there. And
if you guys get a chance to head out to Wisconsin, go out there. You're going to have a chance. If you fucking whack them out there, the people who do that are going to have a chance for $100,000.
a lot of money on the board. So
yeah, it's during September. So
it's going to be great.
Why not? And you got prize fund out there. You could win money out there, win money at home. It's cool, and
hopefully, I would assume that they're going to have brackets available for people to play out there, unlike in regionals.
And unlike the USBC Nationals, you know what you're bowling on. They show you the pattern.
A pattern reveal. How weird is that?
Wow. Interesting.
Transparency.
Yeah.
Not USBC strong suit for sure. So.
Well, I mean, I understand making you guess,
I don't.
And whatever, but
it's just like you parents. You're going to experience this firsthand. You're going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to go bowl your kid to bowl junior gold. You have no effing idea what the hell they're going to be bowling on. So it's basically a game. You have a limited arsenal. So I would say if you're not going to reveal patterns or any of that stuff ahead of time, then don't make them limit their arsenal and don't let them be able to freaking change surface as much as they want then.
Yeah.
You have pattern reveals. You can say, okay, here's the patterns. Now you're limited to X number of balls and changing your surfaces between squads, and that's it.
See, I'm kind of lucky because, my daughter, and she's getting more and more intelligent by the day.
Right.
And she knows tricks and she knows how to figure out a pattern because, to be honest, we learned a trick from Del Warren where you can figure out what you're bowling on in just 2 shots.
Right.
Anything you're bowling on.
Yeah.
And she has a pretty good concept of that. And I kind of talked about that with the kids last week.
Yep.
Literally 2 shots is all you need to find out what you're bowling on. I with 2 shots can tell you the length of the pattern, the approximate volume, and the ratio.
Yeah.
2 shots.
Yeah.
On any lane.
But I don't like secrecy. So, I just think transparency is key in any tournament or any setting because you know how it is when you have no reveal and someone goes out and whacks them. The first thing people are going to say is they must have practiced on it. They must have had the information. The first thing is, if it's transparent, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. That's one of the cool things about the LBC. They gave you the pattern.
Right.
They're almost saying, go home and practice on it.
Right.
And
Come out here and try to
whack
bowl on it. Right. Exactly. That's how it should be.
Yeah. So, it is kind of cool. It's something different than what traditional, nationals have always been. Not to dog on traditional nationals. I know a lot of people have a lot of great time on that.
Yeah.
My
And
biggest
I've had a great time at nationals. Don't get me wrong. I've had a blast at many nationals. So.
Yeah. My biggest problem with nationals is you having too many of them in fucking Reno and then fucking Vegas.
Yeah, it's all West Coast stuff. Luckily, not next year, but the year after, at least we're coming back to Baton Rouge, which will be fun.
Which would be cool, yeah.
But, it'd be nice to go down to, say, Florida or somewhere else on the East Coast. We had Syracuse 5 years ago, 6 years ago now,
right.
But that's the only one. Everything else is then Vegas, Reno. So,
yeah, and so the bowling stadium's getting older and older.
It'd be nice to go to, like, say, St. Louis or anywhere else,
The city of Reno is a fucking shithole.
Yeah, the downtown area is a dump. I hate to say that. Like, they could talk about revitalized downtown Reno. No one's going out after 11 o'clock at night because if you are, it is freaking scary out there. There's, there's meth heads, there's all kinds of stuff. I was walking over, like, bodies and stuff. Like, people are like, is this guy alive or not? Like, it's not fun to be downtown late at night. Heck, when we used to have to go to the Sands and get our bracket money at night was scary enough. So now at least that's a silver legacy, And it's fine if you stay on the row and you just go from casino to casino to casino and don't go outside. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want to do anything else outside of a casino, there's not a lot to see and do unless you go way outside of town like what we were doing.
We went to crackheads.
We drove out to San Francisco or we would go, somewhere else. So.
Yeah. And, you mentioned Syracuse, and I think Syracuse is a perfect example of you can do it in any city because they built the center in a convention center.
Any place that has a big convention center or something, use it.
Use it. Build the center. You're going to rent out the convention center for what? Is it 4 months time span?
February to July.
Oh, it's fucking February?
Yeah.
So it's already May.
No.
Well, shit. So you tell me any major
6
city
months.
that has a convention center
6
sitting
months.
there that wouldn't love somebody to come in and rent that motherfucker for 6 months. Any city would love that.
And even if you had to condense it, if you had, even a few extra lanes, say you're going in, for example, Dallas, AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys are done for the year.
There you go.
Rent AT&T Stadium out, throw 100 lanes in there. You know
Right.
what I mean? You wouldn't have to run it for as long if you didn't want to. And then everyone would not only bowl on this cool lanes, but they would be able to freaking be an AT&T Stadium, this awesome fucking $1 billion facility.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like with a bunch of shit around it to do. So.
Right. USBC, if you want to save yourself, doing stuff like that would make people talk. They'd be like, hey, man, remember when we went to Nationals and we got to bowl in AT&T Stadium? That was fucking
the
cool.
same place where, like, friggin' whoever.
The Cowboys cheerleaders are.
Right, exactly. Where the Cowboys haven't won a playoff game since Nam, so.
But that would be stuff people would be talking about rather than being like, oh, we get to go to Reno again.
Right.
Or, oh, we get to go to Vegas.
Like, I love going to the National Bowling Stadium. I just don't want to go there every other year.
Right.
I go there once every 8 years.
And now
that's fine.
The bleacher seats and all the.
Oh, yeah, the seating's so much there. I used to love the bleacher seats to sit there. I used to love being able to sit up high and just kind of hang out and watch everyone all day. That's
that was
now
the
gone.
whole idea of the stadium.
Right.
A stadium has.
You got rid of the
bleachers.
stadium seating in the stadium.
Right.
Again, look who's running the show.
And then the golf ball on the outside of it.
Look who's running the show.
Go to the National Bowling Stadium to check out the giant golf ball on the front.
Right. What's the hard? Hey, speaking of hardness, USGA doesn't have a rule on the minimum hardness of a golf ball.
No.
They're fine if you have extra footprint on the
They don't
club.
mind if you're soft, hard,
Doesn't matter.
slippery,
I find that interesting.
textured.
Doesn't matter. You can have whatever you want for a golf ball. As long as it's got the right amount of dimples and doesn't go over a certain distance, you're fine. So I just find that interesting. Anyways, we've covered a lot tonight, folks, and thank you everyone for tuning in. We still have people tuning in, so I think we covered all the comments here tonight. Thank you everyone for who checked in the comments section. We appreciate it. And tune in next time on the Fridays with Frankie. We might have some other special shows coming up. Ding Dong is going out to Junior Gold next week, so have a safe trip out to Indy, and hopefully we get some footage from you out there like we did last year. You did a great job for the show last year, getting some interviews while you were out there, and that was a lot of fun. So
I'm going to leave a lot of the equipment with you, but I'm going to try to take some equipment out with me, and maybe we can
take the mobile stuff with you and
remote, and
if I do like a show here, then you can remote you in or whatever, or wherever you at, or we'll figure it out.
Figure it out,
fun.
Because we'll be checking out all sorts of centers out there, and Zen is going to be doing a lot of bowling, I got to say.
Yeah, you told me it's gonna be a lot. So hopefully she comes back with 2 arms and not 1. So
and not too ragey,
it can happen.
So. Hopefully she's more Zen.
More Zen.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And definitely get into the Mismatch Play. Get on the waiting list. Email the frankieanddingdongshow@gmail.com. And we'll definitely talk to you again before the Mismatch Play. And good luck to Zen out there at Junior Gold and at the Shootout and at Team Masters and everything else she's going to be bowling. Survivor. Whatever else you bought, adult youth tournament probably.
She's bowling some sort of doubles thing with just a good speed. And,
hey, take it all in. Indy's fun. It was one of our favorite stops when we went to Junior Gold there. It was we loved Indy.
I like Indy.
Indy's fun.
It's an easy little city.
It is. It's easy to drive around too. So. All right. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We will catch you guys next time here on the Frankie and Ding Dong Show. Peace out, everybody.
Get those kids in the center.